So, I could always write these down for you on the piece of paper that I'm going to be drawing on for you today, so that you've got reference of all of these names. But yes, so we could work with the Andrew Loomis method today, showing that one to you again. So, and when you are starting to go back to the basics so that you can teach others, you start to think, you know, start taking it for granted after a while, where you become so stuck into your own methods or stuck into your own way of working that you just end up sort of freestyling, or dare I say it, I hate to say it, cutting corners, or maybe not cutting corners, but maybe stylishly cheat is what I like to say, what I like to the term I like to use. But I'm going to show you as close to the Andrew Loomis method as I can show you at the minute, and it might look really complicated, so I'll go steady and I will explain what I'm doing as I'm going along. So what you want to start off with is a rough circle, just a rough circle, and in the middle you want to put a cross as close to the center as you possibly can. So we've got our rough circle and we've got our cross right in the center. Now what you're going to do, and you can use a ruler for this if you feel more comfortable, you're going to draw a line going straight across, so it aligns with the cross right here, and at the top here going to draw another line going across. Try and make it as parallel as you can. As I say, you can use a ruler. And with the bottom of our cross, going to have a line going across this way. So what you've done is we've split our circle into quarters. Now, some methods that I've seen on YouTube, the tutorials that I've come across, sometimes they explain them in thirds and some say quarters, but I'm going to say they're quarters with this demonstration today. And what you're going to do next, so you've got the top of your circle here, just going to have a line going off this way to mark the line at the top of the circle. We're going to have a line going this way. Now, your line doesn't have to be absolutely set in stone. It can be very rough or very soft, because eventually, once you've put your pen line down or your main pencil line down, you will be erasing these. So these are just guidelines for you. Okay, so we've got our line aligning with the bottom of the circle, this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here, and these, the distance between should be as close to equal as possible, or as close to anyway. And then you've got your distance between here, the middle of our cross to here. It should be just about here, the distance here, and that should sit at the just above the top of your circle. Draw a line going across. See, so that it should fit within your quarter space here. And then you've got your distance between the middle of your cross to this line here, and it should sit just below your circle. So we'll put a line going across here. I hope this makes some sort of sense to you. I am trying to show you as I go. And what you want to do to save yourself some confusion, you want to label these. So this line here at the top is going to be your hair, top of your hair. This line here is the top of your head. And then you've got this line here, which is going to be hairline. And this cross here is going to be your eyebrows and top of your ears. Yeah, you can write these down like this just to remind you of where everything's going, because as I say, you've got your circle, but it can get a little bit tricky and you can lose your way if you're not used to doing this, because when I tried this over Instagram, I tried doing it all freehand and then I misjudged it slightly and all the proportions were wrong. So that was a slight disaster, but you know, I recovered it. And that's the good thing about doing this all really, really soft, is that you can always erase it and then start again and adjust, or you can correct. So anyway, so bear in mind the middle of your cross, your main cross that was in the middle right there is your eyebrows and the top of your ears. And the line below is where your nose is going to sit. And also the bottom of your ears. So put ears there. And then this part right at the bottom of your circle is where your lips will sit. And then this line here, right at the bottom underneath our circle, is going to be where your chin will sit. And to make it a little bit more complicated for you, your lips will actually sit just in this part here, just above the bottom of the circle. And where your eyebrows are, so your eyebrows should sit on this line here, somewhat. And what you want to do is put a very small line underneath, struggling to get my words out. Your eyes should sit right on this line about here. And this is something that I should really have touched upon last time, about dimensions of where the nose sits and where the lips sit in conjunction with the eyes, but I will get onto that in a minute. And to further complicate your life, we're going to put 2 lines just down, edging down the circle. Sorry if this goes a little bit blurry every now and then. I'm trying to draw with one hand and hold the phone with the other. So we're going to put these 2 slices down here. It will make more sense as it goes along, but I'll show you now. This is where your jawline is going to sit. So now we've got more of a face shape. So your jawline and your cheekbones are going to sit where these lines are. One thing to remember is that this is simply a guide. One thing to remember with all of these names, I'll put the names down for you now. We've got that's George Bridgman without an E. And the one we're doing today is Andrew Loomis, and this is the method that we're doing today. So these are the names that you can find on the net, or you can find them on YouTube. There's plenty of tutorials where they do it step by step for you to look up and you can watch. So as I say, the methods that I showed you with all these names here, they are simply guides. So you can use these just to get the general measurement of where the eyes, the nose and the lips sit on a face. And you can make the face as fat or as thin as you like, and with dimensions with a male and a female face, they have their differences, but maybe that's something that I could touch upon maybe for another time. Like say with a male face, the features are a lot more chiseled and the eyebrows are a lot more wild and a bit more boxy, and the eyes are a little bit more edged, if you'll allow that name, and the jawline for females tends to be a lot more softer. But as I say, I could touch upon these on another time for you. If you imagine any comic book characters, say you've got Batman and Robin, or you've got say Watchmen or anything like that, what makes them that bit more convincing is that even though they're blatantly comic book characters, or they're graphic novel characters, or cartoons rather, what makes them convincing is that the dimensions of the face and the body are as true to a human form as possible, and that is what makes them slightly more believable. So if you've got your template as near true to a real face or a real body, you have got almost a fully formed character, and then you could start playing around with it. You could give them a fringe, you could give them more pouty lips, you could give them almondy eyes, or you could give them slitty eyes, or you can give them pixie ears, or you could even give them a mermaid tail. You could do whatever. If you've got the dimensions there, you're almost halfway there with your character design. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to just freestyling it, this one. Yeah, I'll do it in pencil and maybe finish it off later. Okay, so we've got our cross in the middle. If you think you've got your cross in the middle where your eyebrows sit, your eyebrows are sitting just on this line here. Now this should be as to the center as possible. And now I'm going to put in the iris here for you. One thing about irises is that you want to make them ever so slightly hooded, so they're not completely circle, because if you look at your face in the mirror, that's probably somewhere to start, is that if you look at your face in the mirror and you study your own face, you get used to where parts of the body lie, and you can start interpreting that in your drawings. Is that the eyelids will sit ever so slightly down. You've got your iris, which will be just like a fifth or a quarter, just ever so slightly hidden by your eyelids. I'm going to make her have very almondy eyes, this character. And then the beginning of your eyebrow should start just here at the edge of your eye, and just at the very corner. So if you gauge where your corners are, here's your eyebrow, and you've got your nose. Your nose is just going to sit on this line here for you. Now your nose should ideally, the edges of your nose where your nostrils are should sit just on the edge, the corner of your eye, just here, or just inside. There we go. And you can make the nose as flat or as skinny as you would like. And then you've got your lips. Your lips are just going to sit here. And the edge of your lips should sit just where the edge of your iris is, where your pupil is. You've got your pupil there in the middle of your eye, if that helps you to gauge where it sits. Just on the edge of the iris, just by where the pupil lines up. And again, you can make your lips as full or as thin as you like. I'm going to give her some quite full lips, this character of mine. And you see, as you've got the lines here just coming in, you see it's starting to look a little bit more like a face. I'm actually gonna be a little bit naughty, and I'm gonna give her probably more of a round face. Because there are many shaped faces out there. Right, there's our chin. What you want is for the jawline to ideally sit around here, almost level to where the lips are, and then you bring it in slightly. So if it's more chiseled, you can start here and then bring in, for example, if you want to make your chin more chiseled, but she's got a bit more of a roundish face, this girl here. As I say, I'm just freestyling. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a male or female, but there we go. You can make the eyebrows as arched or as curved as you want. Tell you what, I'm gonna give us some glasses. I don't normally make characters with glasses. I really should. So give us some nice big ones. And that's what we need to add in. So you've got your eyebrows here, tops of your ears, nose and ears here. Even if you're going to do the hair covering the ears, you can always add them in roughly, just so you know where they're going to go. Right, so tops of the ears here, and the bottom of the ear sits just on that line where the nose is. I'll do it again this side. Not sure if I want to show the ears or not, but there we go. So we've got our character here. I'll give her those really cool, I was going to say Chanel, but I say they're a bit 60s, these glasses. Looking proper cool. So she's starting to look like a character that I designed ages ago, where she was going to be fully like tatted out. Her entire body was going to be completely covered in tattoos. I think I might do that later for you. I'll just do that here. She was going to have a massive moth right on her voice box when I designed her ages and ages ago. She was going to be a real hipster, a new age femme fatale. Right, so we got our face here, and now the hairline. We've got the hairline here. If you ever look at a face straight on, it's as if you're thinking about where the forehead and to the back of the head goes backwards in a curve shape. So whether you give her bangs or whether you bangs, sorry, I'm so used to using the American word, a fringe rather, you can have it coming down to about where the eyebrows are or make it a bit shorter, but either way your hairline is going to be from about this point on that this line here, and then the top of your hair will be here, because from the top of your head to where your hair is, I mean, hair has volume, and so it sits or just above your head like that. But you can make it a bit thinner if you like, because, you know, if your character has greasy hair, for example, it's going to sit a lot flatter. And do you know what? I'm going to do that to her. Yeah, I was going to make a whole story about this character once, where she was just completely tatted out, but I did have a vague idea of where her character was going to go, but didn't really materialise, and that was a few years ago. But no, sometimes you think about writing stories, or sometimes you think about a character in your head, and sometimes I think to myself, even if you get that character come to life in your artwork, it's nearly enough, because you get to explain about them, or you get to tell their tale, or whatever their tale is. Right, so very wide jawline here that we got. As I say, I'm going to, maybe I'll have her top come down a little bit more, because eventually I think I'm going to tattoo her out later. I might have the finished product on here for you. Going to make it a little bit more voluminous down here. As I say, once you've got your template sorted, you can start playing about with where everything sits. For some reason, I've decided to give her oily roots and more drier, more voluminous ends. Why that is, I don't know. I just thought, I don't know. my characters are influenced by real people, or they're inspired by real people. And it's just like if you look at people on the bus or people in magazines or even on the telly, like sometimes you can have a character in mind or an idea in mind, and that sometimes makes it easier. Otherwise, just take whichever of these templates that you like working with and just experiment and just simply have fun. Have fun getting to know where everything sits on a face, and then just play around with it, see what you come up with. And if anybody wants to share what they've come up with, you can DM me if you like. And yeah, you can. And if you want to, you could always share yours online. But if you're not brave enough to share your progress online, that is absolutely fine, because it's all about just having the privacy of your own home to be able to muck about and see what you can come up with. Okay, I am coming to nearly the end of my demonstration for you. I think I'm going to give her one of those really symmetrical haircuts. I did have a similar haircut to this when I was growing up, but having a fringe to me is too much hassle. I mean, they look stylish if you get it right, but no, not for me. You see the top of your head here? When I do give my characters a fringe, I like to use this as where it all sprouts from. And get your parting there. One thing about doing hair is that you want to do a few lines to show that the hair is sprouting from somewhere and it's not just sitting on their head like a helmet. You want to do a little bit of shading behind there where the light is hidden. And as far as I know, this is her complete. I will finish her off later for you, but for now I just wanted to show you another demonstration using the Andrew Loomis Method. I hope this has been some kind of use to you. I don't think I've left anything out for you, but yeah, you can find the Andrew Loomis Method and you can find the other artists all over the net or on YouTube. There's plenty of tutorials to show you how you can use these. And as I say, just, muck about, have fun, get creative, and see what on earth you come up with. I mean, the last one I gave her antlers, and another one I made her like an alien girl. But I've had a good time showing you this today, and I hope to tune in with you guys again soon. And any comments or suggestions, please put them down in the box below. And I hope to talk to you again soon. Ta-ta, bye-bye.